part 7, 5, and 2, because I don't know how to do that one-handed. If you haven't, you might want to go to the very first video that's talking about my mom's abusive ex trying to get in and scaring the poop out of us. And then that led me to the hospital. And this is me out of the hospital, so I'm going to talk about that. I want to keep this kind of hospital focused and less family focused, so I'm not going to mention how hard stuff was for me, like in detail of how my family treated me after I got out, even though it is important. I did include it in my book, which was very hard to decide to leave in. Let's just say me and my mom aren't close. We were and we're not. Learned a lot of things that I wasn't aware of at the time, because it was normal to me. I did notice what wasn't normal, after, because, it's pretty hard when someone's screaming in your face. But I do think that what the hospital said and stuff, accusing my mom of abuse, did make it so that we weren't close anymore, because my mom just couldn't get past it. She kept thinking I was going telling everybody, and I wasn't. I was telling everybody about the abuse I experienced at the hospital. I was telling the counselors that she didn't know I was going to see to deal with it, deal with the PTSD and the new stuff I couldn't tell her about. I had to decompress and take in everything that they had done to me, everything that I didn't, because I wasn't in a safe environment to do it yet. And they had secretly drugged me and injected me with stuff they weren't supposed to, that affected me negatively and mentally, and it's just a lot. And to this day, everything they did to me still affects me. It took me almost half a year to look in the mirror again, because they had left me for over 10 hours in seclusion, with messy hair and a mirror. I think it's a shatterproof mirror. I'm just there alone for that long. So when I got home, I couldn't look myself in the mirror at all. Not even a glimpse, because it put me back there. The only reason why I could look in the mirror again and still can is because I changed my hair. I dyed it. And now I feel like I can look at myself and not see that person, that hurt person that was in that room that they did that to. It's like a separate person. It's not, but it's like my way of coping, like separating that this is future, current person who's not there, not that abused person, and the other was. And that's how I dealt with it on my own. I didn't have anybody. Because of COVID and because it was malpractice, that's what all the lawyers kept telling me. They said it was so hard to fight in a very long process, and it was COVID, so everything was backed up, and they couldn't. And the very few who could do hospital related ones, they didn't do the if you win then they get paid. They needed a retainer fee, and I didn't have the money. Or I've been like, yes, please give me some sort of justice where it's filed, it says right in there everything they did to me. Get me in a room to say everything they did to me. so that people will know and they'll be judged on what they did because it was right and they shouldn't have been able to get away with it. I really, really do hope I get some kind of, as my counselor told me, closure where I do get some form of justice because I really, really need it. And it was so hard for me to move forward for the longest time because I was getting nowhere until like the very last year I was allowed to even pursue anything, where my last resort was small claims court, and if I hadn't done that, I would have got no form of justice, and I would have just been another person silently put away, and that's it. There was a doctor's and physician's college that I didn't know you could complain to about until a lawyer told me longer than it should have been, because the patient's relations didn't tell me any of that, and apparently she's supposed to. She's supposed to tell me that I could have gone above her and complained to them, but I didn't know that part until recently, so that's kind of out of there. I tried to complain about the doctor, and that by the reviews, I didn't know about the reviews, but the results didn't surprise me, and I didn't know about the College of Nurses of Ontario until well over a year, because a different lawyer had told me about it, and so I didn't know. So I did that, and I was doing both because it takes a very long time to process, and I just couldn't handle all three things of a small claims because the nursing was taking such a long time. By then I did small claims because it was my last resort, and the doctor complaint which also included the time where he had almost let me die from my inflamed gallbladder. But yeah, so I didn't bother fighting to continue to do the doctor one, because I was more focused on the nurse who had hit me and getting my justice as best as I could, and including the small claims. Of course, that was the big thing for the College of Nurses of Ontario, was saying how I didn't do it for like well over a year, and I didn't know about it. Nobody told me, even though they had a legal obligation to tell me right away. And even though there were video cameras in the facility, and I knew exactly where I was going with him, and I recited it, they still just no justice. They tried to say the cameras were apparently monitoring purposes only, but they could at some point record video, and where is that? And the College of Nurses of Ontario didn't push further to figure that out, so I tried to motion for it, and like I said, hospitals try to say basically it doesn't exist, which is convenient since that would have been my proof. It would have been all on camera, everything they did to me, everything that male nurse had did to me too, and everything they did to me in that room.